everybody knew we were being recorded.
Yep, and I've got a red record button up there, Lindsay.
Okay, great. All right, should we go ahead and get started?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I can share our slideshow here.
Yeah, so just a quickie, we've got a slideshow that we're going to present. We have a wee video of the classrooms and some questions and answers, and feel free to stop us at any time. You can do just break in and interrupt us, or if you want to use the fancy raise your hand sign, we'll recognize that as well.
We may not be as great with catching the chat though, so.
Yeah, we'll try.
If we don't see it, feel free to ask again or jump in.
Awesome. All right, Lindsay, you want to just go to these? Everybody can see, everybody got our slideshow, yeah? Beautiful. Awesome. So a quick agenda for tonight is our welcome and introductions. And in a minute, I'll just kind of introduce myself a little bit, and Lindsay can do the same for herself. Then we're going to talk about the beginning of the year. And we're kind of getting past the beginning. We're starting to get into the real meat of the year, which is amazing. It's happened really fast. But we'll talk about what we've been doing and some things you have to expect in third grade, wrap up with questions. And actually, we'll probably do the virtual visit before we do the questions so that you can be thinking about anything you might see in the wee video that you might want to ask questions about. And I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Betsy Patrick. I've been teaching, this is my 38th year at Champlain, actually. I've taught kindergarten, first, second, third, and fourth. I guess, honestly, third is my favorite grade. I've been here for a while up in this classroom. Really love to fill my room with plants and living things and working with those 15 living things that walk into my classroom every morning. So thank you for all you do to help my job and make my job as enjoyable and wonderful as it is.
And I'm Lindsey Zeigfinger. I have been teaching for around 15 years. I've taught all over. I've taught in California, Colorado, Spain. This is my 4th year here at Champlain. I taught for a few years over at Edmonds as well. I am really happy to be back full-time in the classroom. It's really nice to see everyone, and I'm looking forward to a great year. And let me go to the next slide. There we go. All right, so this is sort of the beginning, how we have gotten started with our school year. Sorry, my lights are motion sensors, so they're turning on and off on me. So we got started this year with a lot of community building, and we have done a lot of things. Like both classrooms have created a class pledge, what we want our classroom to feel like and look like. We've been all working on our hopes and dreams, which is goal setting for a 3rd grade year. Every day we do morning meetings where the kids get to share about things that are happening in their lives and how they're doing. We also both classes made these I'm Terrific stars where they got to kind of show off what they were really good at. And we've also been doing we call them community circles. They're part of the restorative practices that we have been working on here at Champlain, and district-wide. And we also have been getting a lot of champ cards. I don't know, Ms. Patrick, about your class, but my class is rocking the champ cards this year. So it's been really nice. The kids have been really loving the positive attention and, feeling good about themselves, which has been really nice.
Yep. I tell my class it's kind of a two-way street. It's their job to show me how to be safe, respectful, and responsible, but it's also my job to really notice a lot and often. And they've also been earning lots of champ cards. We're well on our way to 300. Our daily schedule. This is just a quick snapshot with no times because Lindsay and I are pretty well in sync, but it modifies any day of the week. Every morning, we've got scheduled in that morning meeting so that come in, sit down in circle. They get to have a greeting and read our morning message and look at the schedule and just kind of start our day on a real positive note, saying good morning to each other right away. And then we'll do word study right away before we have snack, which is nice to kind of get that really gives us a focus. That's kind of a small chunk of time, that word study. We're working for like 20, 25 minutes, often independently after we deliver the lesson around the spelling strategy that we're working on during the week. Then we'll have snack, go outside and stretch our legs. We do have 2 recesses a day. We both think it's really important for these 3rd grade kiddos to get out and move their bodies, giving them a better opportunity to really focus in the classroom, which we find really works well. That being said, unless it's below 0, we go out. So just, be aware of that as far as like clothing and being warm and boots and all of that later on this year. And then we come in, we have a literacy block. It might be writing. It could be special reading groups, some time for really some special needs work with kids that want to either be extended or help with any other kind of strategy groups. And then we have math in the morning before we have lunch. And then we have a quiet time after lunch, which is also a time that, they have lunch and then they have recess. And so they'll come in and we have a few minutes of quiet time, which they all really enjoy. If we have to skip that for any reason, we get in awful trouble. And in the afternoon, we have readers workshop, social studies activities, science activities, and our special. We have a real busy day. It's difficult sometimes to fit it all in, but your kids are really kind of settling into the routines and making it easier for us to do what we need to do to get everything in.
Yeah, I've noticed that kids are surprised at the end of the day now. That's how you can tell when they've settled in. They're, what? It's time to go home? It's nice. So this is a look at our math program. We use a program, so same one they've been using throughout their time here. It's the Eureka Math. Sort of the online component, which we do occasionally in class, is Zern. And it's a nice way for us to sort of review a lesson if a lesson was challenging for them, or give kiddos a chance to do some extension things. We've also been doing a lot of problem solving in class, and we'll be doing number talks, which is a chance for kids to sort of do some mental math and talk about their math thinking and share about it with their peers. It really starts to build some of that really strong number sense and helps support their problem solving as well. There are about 5, we call them modules. They're like units that we get through for the year. The first one is properties of multiplication and division. That one only goes, I believe it's just like division by 3s, 4s, 6s. It's sort of those smaller numbers, multiplication and division. And we actually introduce multiplication and division at the same time so that they can sort of see that those are inverse or opposite math, I guess. Sorry, lost the word for it. Then our second module, we'll kind of go back again to, I think that keeps happening every time I'm in the middle of talking.
Wait, mine's going too.
And the second module, we kind of go back and do some more addition and subtraction. It's very similar to what they did in 2nd grade with 3-digit addition and subtraction. We just put it in the context of measurement, so length and volume, and we do some time in that one too. So there's a lot of stuff kind of crammed into the second module, along with that addition and subtraction review from last year. Module 3, we go back again into multiplication and division, and then adding in those higher numbers, 6 through 9 and 0, things like that. So that's sort of, it's a nice way to go back and review everything they learned in the first module while making it a little bit more challenging with some more challenging numbers. There's also module 4 is multiplication in area, which takes what they learned about that multiplication and they start looking at the area models and using manipulatives to measure things and stuff like that. And then our last one is our introduction to fractions, which they'll see a lot of in 4th grade. Throughout all this, and I know Betsy does this too, we have lots of extension activities for the kids too, and review activities. So there are different games that we play and all that kind of stuff. They work in partners and groups. So they get a chance for those kiddos who need review and those kiddos who are ready for a challenge.
Yeah. And you can see from what Lindsey was just saying about the different modules, multiplication and fractions are really 2 of the heavy concepts that we are working to make sure that our 3rd graders come out with a really solid foundation for when they move to 4th grade and they get into some really more sophisticated thinking about both of those.
Yeah, and that makes me think too, if you're looking for something to do at home, a great thing for them to do is some skip counting, which really helps them learn their multiplication facts. So, counting by 3s, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and that kind of thing. When you're sitting around bored in the car or something like that, challenge them, see if they can do some skip counting, make bigger and bigger numbers each time.
And sorting and grouping, making that transition to division from multiplication, just knowing how to take a whole number and segment it into equal groups is also something that's going to be really helpful. Any questions so far? Or we keep going with literacy?
I have a quick question. Hi, this is Cassie. I'm Maggie Russo's mom, clearly, and sorry for eating during this meeting. You mentioned using Eureka Math. I think the way that math is taught is so different than the way we learned it when we were younger. Is that like an open platform that we could go, or are there even just those tips like around skip counting and breaking down numbers is super helpful, like in English of things, how we can relate to the way our kids are learning math? Because sometimes I just get lost, frankly. So is there a resource or like other kind of tips, like even just like ask your kid about kind of that?
There definitely is. And I'm going to send home a whole packet of stuff after this that has a lot of that information in it as well. And Betsy, did you send that home already?
I think I did send it home. There's like a parent tip sheet that goes along with each unit. I mean, it's only like a 1-pager front and back, but there's a lot in there around the concepts taught and some ways that parents can support that thinking.
Thank you.
Literacy. There's a lot going on with our literacy as well. We've spent the first month or so really getting to know your kids as readers, what they're reading. Thank you for sending books in from home so that we could see what they're reading. We've been conferencing with them, meeting in small groups, doing the Literably assessment, which is a real quick online snapshot where they record themselves reading a story at their just right, maybe instructional level, and they answered some questions, and it just kind of gives another sense of where they would be working with us in both groups independently and instructionally. So right now, we're really just getting into book groups, spending a lot of time getting conferencing down, which is a really important piece to our reading workshop. They are going to be doing a lot of writing about their reading, which we're getting into really soon. Lindsey and I both have had conversations about this year wanting to really write a lot. And we already, I think, are ahead of the game this year, which is awesome. In 3rd grade, we start doing some thinking outside of the text, inferencing, synthesis, analysis, and things like that, which is a little bit more sophisticated thinking that they may have been asked to do before. A battle that sometimes we need to work with kids is the letter grade or the letter of the level that they're on. A lot of what we do is the writing and the thinking that we do around their reading. The level of book sometimes has no bearing on where, it has no bearing, but it has to do with what we're asking them to do is at a more sophisticated level. So the level of the book, their fluency may be at one level, but the thinking that we're asking them to do would be at a different level. So don't be surprised if your kids come home and say, but I was reading this level last year, but Mrs. Patrick is asking me to read this book this year. Well, it's because I'm going to be doing some different things with it. We're going to be writing so much more about it. We're going to be talking about it in a different way. So that's what reading workshop looks like. For writing, we focus on sentence structure and paragraphing. We've already broken into and almost finished a 4-paragraph essay using a painted essay model, which you may have heard about from your kids. We do have a picture of what the scaffold looks like when you look at the slideshow. But they're writing one about their friend. They've interviewed a friend, and so they're writing it about their friend and making a comparison, the similarities and the differences. We will also be doing some argument writing, narrating a narrative, some report writing, and that will be just kind of building over the course of the year. Our word study work, we did some initial evaluations and assessments, and your kids are going to be working on many, many words. And Lindsey knows a lot about this program as well, is that we all work on the same strategy, spelling strategy, but the words may be at different levels, so that we can challenge those students that need challenges and really focus in on where they need to be to become better spellers for themselves. Some of the units that we work on would be building a reading life, and that's more of what we do in the beginning of the year. And then do some nonfiction work, a character study. We use Because of Winn-Dixie to focus, like our text that we use to learn about character. And then we will use what we learn about character in Because of Winn-Dixie to look at characters in the books that they're reading and things like that. So we do a lot of making connections to text, to our lives, to the world, and writing in science. We're kind of writing all over the place, to tell you the truth. So when I say writing and literacy, those are some focuses, but we're writing in science. We're writing sometimes during math even. So that's a snapshot of what we do for literacy.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things, Betsy, about our 3rd grade curriculum is a lot of it is all integrated and tied together. So a lot of our reading moves into our writing, and our science becomes the writing and the reading, and it starts to all connect for them, which is really nice. Which sort of goes into our science and social studies units again, which these overlap with everything, and some of them kind of continue the whole year. A lot of the things that we have started already, things like our community building, we've started our community building in the classroom, and then we're going to work into talking about what is a community and what is sort of our school community. And then we'll begin to talk about maybe our neighborhoods and what is a community made up of, and what are the different parts in our Burlington community. And that will sort of continue all year long, where that will kind of pop up again at different times during the year, especially again in the spring when we start to do, it's a unit called Healthy Kids, Healthy Neighborhoods, when we'll talk about how, we can be helpful community members and things like that, and maybe do some mapping of our school and the neighborhood. We'll also starting in November, December, we'll start up doing some Earth systems. We do some really fun sort of weather activities, and kids learn about the change in weather and the seasons and how to predict the weather that's coming. There's some fun activities that we do. Starting in January and February is one of our really big 3rd grade units. It's one of my favorite units. And a lot of kids too throughout the years have been saying it. It's our Bridges unit, which is engineering and design, where the kids get to learn all about bridges and bridges construction and engineering and strength and stability. And this is one of those units that it's all day all bridges all day for many weeks. And ultimately, they'll design bridges out of sort of popsicle sticks and straws and index cards with a partner, and then they'll get to test them. And last year, I think we did a virtual, or did we record them? I think maybe we recorded it and then shared out a video. And then March and April, we'll go back into our Healthy Kids, Healthy Neighborhoods again. And then May and June, we're starting sort of it's new for me. I think Betsy has done similar units, but we're going to be doing a life science animal study unit where the kids are going to get to choose an animal and research it and to, write all about it and sort of put all the skills that they've been learning about all year together to come up with a final project, which the kids last year were really excited about. So.
Yeah, and sprinkled through there might be different spotlights of engineering activities to get us thinking about, engineering before we get to bridges. Also, I don't remember her last name, Jen something, who is new to our district, but she's connecting with the garden. And so like this Friday, Lindsey's class and my class are going out in the garden to work with her. And so any week, these are our big units, but if an opportunity comes up, we usually grab it, science, social studies, anything wise. Also, you may or may not have seen Scholastic Newses Go Home, or maybe you said that and I missed it, Lindsey.
No, I think I skipped right over it.
Okay, but we use that also to connect to current events and reading nonfiction. This is just a quick, you don't need to read this, but I just wanted to show you, we wanted to show you what it looked like. The district curriculum map is something that you can go look at in detail if you so choose, which has some more information around Eureka Math and the kind of the big ideas for the different grade levels here at Champlain if you go at the Burlington School Department website.
And then the last thing is that we are doing one-to-one technology this year. Every third grader has a Chromebook, which is a switch from last year with the iPads. We have been doing some focus on digital citizenship, so how to be an online citizen. And this sort of ties in with the idea about community and what is our school community, and then who then is part of this community when we're online, and how can we be safe and respectful when we're online. We're using the Chromebooks. I'm not sure we use them every day, but we do use them every week for sure, doing different parts of the curriculum, getting a chance for them to practice some of the different online things and online platforms that we're using to learn. We also, all the kiddos so far have learned how to log in to Google Classroom, and they do assignments throughout our time so far that is an assignment through Google Classroom, so that just in case, knock on wood, we have to go remote, they'll be familiar with the platform that we're planning on using.
Yeah, and I know that, from working with my kids, of course, they all had iPads last year, and you may have different forms of technology at your house, but some kiddos, iPads are all they know. So Lindsey and I have both tried to really focus on, as she said, don't want to have to send them home, but also we want to make sure that everybody's all ready and they know what to do if they needed to get to a Google Classroom or get to a meeting or get to a Zern lesson or something like that independently. We just want them to, if they had to slide into it, they could.
And then just sort of before we wrap up, we do have a video that we want to show you, but we do suggest for third graders that they be doing 30 minutes of homework, of reading for homework a night. So the more you can get them reading, the better. If you can get them reading chapter books, even better. But we recommend 30 minutes a night. I haven't started sending it home yet, but I will after this. I wanted to make sure everyone knew what was coming. There will be some word study lists of the kids are practicing in school. So Betsy, have you sent those home already. Yeah, those have already started going home, and they'll be going home soon from my class. So if you wanted to help them practice with their words at home, you could do that as well. And then sometimes we might send home a website that's really great practice for them to do some reading on and things like that. So we'll send things like that home as well.
Yeah, but both of us would advocate for fresh air and exercise.
Yes. Yeah. So I will play, we have a short 3-minute video with some pictures of our classrooms and things like that. And then we'll have some time for questions and answers. So, let us know if you have any questions, and let me know if this makes a lot of feedback while I'm trying to play it here too. All right, let's see.
The behind the mask, they really want to get them home, but we didn't want to send them home right away.
The whole school loves them. They can pull them down, and the kids go by and they're Velcroed together, and they just pull them down and look at them one at a time. It's really great.
Yeah. And everybody's been very respectful, but I'm thinking, Lindsey, let's not push our luck.
Yes.
Because I know
there have been a few rushed tape repairs.
Yeah. So they'll be coming home soon, but they were a really fun thing to do together. Some kids, I know mine are like creating them just out of memory. We did it with a woman who, it's like kids art hub, except it's a different person, where she takes them step by step through this process. It was really fun. So any questions about anything that you saw, heard, or otherwise that you didn't see or hear? Yeah, Maria?
Bruce wanted to know, he read Because of Winn-Dixie with a book group last year in his class, or is that the class read, or?
It is the class read, but we will be going really in depth, much more in depth than I think they did in their book group.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question about typing. When and how do kids learn how to type?
That's a really good question, Alicia. And we wish we had an awesome typing program, but we don't. We do have one that we're going to access and have the kids start using. Lindsey and I talk about that a lot. And if anybody out there has heard of one that really, really works well, we'd love to hear about it. And Type to Learn was the old one. Do you remember what it's called?
Typing Club, I think.
Typing Club.
Yeah.
So we are going to get them started on Typing Club. Again, kind of the best one that we have available to us right now in the district. And if anybody knows the better one, let us know. But yeah, we're going to get started with that as well. And Typing Club is the kind of thing that if that is one that they like to use, just as Lindsey and I both have, or she's getting them started on Extra Math, which is just like it's a fluency math, addition, subtraction, multiplication thing. And it's timed and they just kind of do it for 15 minutes. Some kids love it. Other kids, it's just too stressful. And those are the kind of things that if you would like to have them access at home, they could. Because it's not anything like, I don't care if they're doing fluency practice and they just keep going beyond where I am, because that's really what it's all about. The more you do it, the better you get. So, Heather,
Go ahead.
Miss Ames had the typing program that she had the kids use in 4th and 5th grade at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's really, really good.
Isn't it Typing Club?
I know that today, I thought today was Tuesday, so I don't know.
I think she did, and I think maybe there's a difference. There's a pay version, which one year we did, and now we don't do the pay version. I think there is something like that now. We're doing the free version where they go through it a few times and they learn each key, and then that's it.
But I'm glad to hear that it was one that you thought was good, because if it really is that good, then maybe we need to step it up and get it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we'll vote for that. Chelsea.
Hi, I'm wondering if you guys are going to do cursive this year.
That's another good question. We are. That short answer is yes. And we've already started getting into just plain handwriting, so that all the kids are getting some fine motor work, know how to use the paper. It's a program, it's called Danielian type writing, so that they get started with the angle of the letters, and some of them will have a hook. I'm not sure we can tell you right now when the cursive part will happen, but my guess is that after December, when we start up in January, I'm going to guess that we're at a place where we could start practicing cursive. I know that it's like, it's a loaded question around, if you ask people about writing cursive, kids really like it. They are really highly motivated. Most kids, not all. But as a former kindergarten teacher, also developing fine motor skills, it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's great for those kiddos who need the handwriting practice, who don't want to go back and be doing their A's that they did in kindergarten. It makes them feel better to get to practice it with cursive, which is really nice. So even if they don't remember the cursive, they get that motor skill.
Kate? You're on mute. You're muted, Kate.
Sorry, I was just saying that I've been making dinner while I'm listening, but I'm enjoying everything I'm hearing so much. It just sounds like a great experience for the kids. My question is whether it's likely that they'll be doing any field trips this year.
Oh, boy. Lindsey and I were already talking about some. Pretty much, as far as we know, we can walk anywhere we want. But as far as getting anywhere like Shelburne Farms or the Audubon or things like that, transportation is really the issue. We have had, I've been fortunate to have a couple friends come in from the outside to do some special activities outside, as far as like having people come in. Alicia, Lily's mom, came in and did an activity, and I have a connection with a St. Michael's class that it's only 4 times they have a class, and they come in and work with small groups of kids on science concepts. But as far as field trips and going anywhere together in a bus is not happening likely this year. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, but we will go, our Healthy Kids, Healthy Neighborhoods, we will go out for some walking field trips, and we'll probably do some trips to Oak Ledge to do some fun things there, that kind of thing. Get out as much as we can. I think we have next week, we're doing some seedling planting out back, things like that. There are some people coming to us still, which is nice.
And we talked about taking a walk to the new mural by the artist that did the mural at Champlain, and talk about, since we've been focusing on similarities and differences by interviewing our friends, taking a look at our mural and then walking to that mural and having that same kind of conversation. But we want to make sure we make a plan on a day where it's not too yucky. So I don't know who's C. It says C.
No.
So
Yeah,
because I don't know what your first name is, it's like, okay.
no, I did that so I could leave like a bad review at a restaurant one time without people knowing who I was. I have 2 quick questions. One is around graphic novels versus chapter books, and kind of some.
Sorry, wait.
We heard that.
I won't do that.
So I'm just like, I'm hearing, I'm sure like other kids have a kid who loves graphic novels and is like, oh, we only get to do it 1 day a week. And so I'd love to hear thinking about that and what we can encourage at home. And then the other question I had was around just curious how lunch is going in the classrooms, and like, are you taking lunch outside when you can? I know some classes are and other classes might not be, and would just love to hear about how that's working out and what the plans might be for the winter. Thanks.
Yeah, so I can, graphic novels, I definitely think they have their place, and the kids love to read them. Which is great. I don't want to discourage them from reading them, but I also want them in the classroom to be having some of those deeper comprehension experiences. So the ability to really learn in depth about a character, for example, is what we're doing with our character studies, or really, hear some of that bigger vocabulary and that more figurative language that comes in with chapter books. Mm-hmm. So, we're really encouraging that the kids, it's fine to read a graphic novel for fun, but sometimes, we want to learn about characters and get involved in a story. So, we're also really pushing that kids get that opportunity, especially at school. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Betsy, if you want to add anything to that.
No, you said it well, but also because Lindsey and I know how highly motivated they are to read them, giving them an opportunity once a week during reading workshop. Plus we do have that quiet time every day. So knowing that on those quiet time days, they can read, their graphic novels, it's not a long time, but it gives them that opportunity. Yeah, it really has been flooded with different graphic novels. And some of them, the other thing that's really kind of difficult is we are talking about mostly 8-year-olds right now. Some of those graphic novels, I'll be watching them reading one and I can tell it's like, oh, whatever that humor is, maybe doesn't have a place in my classroom. Not sure, so it's tricky. It's tricky because that is definitely highly motivating. As far as lunch goes, we haven't been going out that much. We've only got a limited amount of time, and we try to get out because we both go outside for 2 recesses. Having lunch in the classroom, actually, I didn't think it was something I was going to love so much, and I kind of advocated for doing it again this year rather than the gym anyway. Kids are settled, they're focused, they have such a routine. It's not such a big space. Lindsey and I both let the leader choose a book flex, which is kind of an animated storybook time where they can just pick a book, they watch, they listen, and they eat. It gets cleaned up. They're independent. It's kind of a nice time, to tell you the truth. And there are
we find they get more time to eat inside, whereas outside, setting everything up, they end up with maybe 5 or 10 minutes to eat before it's time to clean up.
Yeah, and there are certain things that work. Pizza works outside. Chicken chow mein does not.
No. The seagulls like chicken chow mein. That's who likes chicken chow mein.
Yeah, you're welcome. And actually, we are at about 7:15, but we certainly can hang on if there are any other questions. But if not, I'm sure Lindsey would agree that if you ever have any questions, email us, catch us at the end of the day. We're both outside every day, at least for a few minutes, until we make sure the kiddos are at least gone to their trusted adult or in the direction of that trusted adult or bus. But we really appreciate all you do to make our job as easy as it is. Actually, you've all got wonderful, wonderful kids.
Yes, we have a great crew, really great crew. Well, thanks for coming. Good to see everyone. See your whole faces.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Juan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask a personal question about Laurel in terms of lunch.
Would you mind, because we're on with some other parents and stuff like that, could we set up a time for you and I to check in about this another time?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah? Will you shoot me an email?
Sure.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thanks, Joe. All right. Well, thanks for coming. Kate, are you all set?
And Champlain families, I'd like to thank you for coming to our virtual open house this evening. It is indeed 7:16, and our teachers and staff do need to go home and attend to their own families, have dinner and a night time with their own families this evening so that they can get back to business, be as fresh as possible for you in the morning. And we really appreciate, again, you attending this virtual open house tonight. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, bright and shiny Friday.